What up? What up? It is Alex, the fantasy football hustler, back at you, and I got another start and sit video for you guys. I'm breaking down every single position, every single game. We're talking about every single fantasy relevant player. If you are a very impatient person, look at those timestamps below, hit them, get to whatever game you want, and leave a like, subscribe, thumbs up. Let's go. Let's get into it. Every single game. Boom. First game on the slate. Another really bad Thursday night game. We got the Broncos going to New Orleans to play the Saints. I'm just going to blanket start saying sit everybody on Thursday night. Anybody really want to start Bo Nix or Javonte or Cortland Sutton or Troy Franklin, Adam Troutman? Hell no. We're not going to play players just to play them on Thursday anymore. We're going to not play any of these Broncos. And now to the home team. It makes it real easy to just blanket sit everybody when it's Spencer Rattler that's going to be playing out there, because it did not look good last week at all. Alvin Kamara, literally the only person that I would be even starting over here. Maybe Joanna Man Johnson or Foster Moreau if you're super desperate. This Thursday game is going to be garbage. In addition to the Thursday games sucking, these London games really suck. We got the Patriots taking on the Jaguars. Jaguars have actually been there for a week, so they got a little unfair advantage. For the Patriots, I'm sitting everybody. I do not want to start Drake May. I do not want to start Stevenson. He'd be the only one that I would start if he's healthy. Maybe Hunter Henry in like a dart throw situation if you're super desperate tight end. I'm just not going to start anybody in these London games anymore. It sucks waking up to seeing your players sucking, doesn't it? What's worse, Thursday night games or these early London games? Which one do you say is worse? Now to the home team. They've been over there a week versus the Patriots, who are just coming out there this week. Trevor Lawrence, sitting him. ETN, already declared doubtful. I don't want to start Bigsby. I don't want to start Dearness Johnson. Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr., Gabe Davis. All bums, man. Brian Thomas Jr. is the only one who I'd really want to play. Evan Ingram, tight ends are just different because there's very few even halfway decent ones. It's all bad for the Jaguars. It is all bad for London. Next game on the docket, Lions going over to Minnesota to play those Vikings who are fresh off a bye. Most people in this game were starting Jared Goff, starting him. Amon-Ra, starting him. Sam Laporta, I would say start him because the Vikings, they've been giving up points to the tight end. That's just the position that they give up the most points to. Wide receivers, you can eat on them. It's the running backs who really haven't eaten on the Vikings. I feel just super confident with David Montgomery with all the injuries that are out there that he's just a must start. Gibbs would be the one. He's like a flex play to me. But I feel like more often than not, he's just going to get the nod in your flex spot anyways. So, yeah, Jared Goff, Montgomery, Amon-Ra, Laporta, we're firing all those guys up at will. And Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm going to say play him, but he's more of like a flex role type of guy. And now to the home team, the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not afraid to play Darnold off the bye. He's been throwing too many touchdowns for us to be scared to play him. They brought back Cam Akers. You see him here. He's the third string running back now. They just brought him back from Houston. I don't think they did that because Jones is healthy. I think Jones misses this week. Lions, they are giving up very little points to the running backs. The only running back that did good against them was Ken Walker. Everyone else has done bad. If Jones plays, I'm still leaning on sitting him. So that means I don't want to start Ty Chandler. I don't want to start Cam Akers, even if Aaron Jones does not end up playing. We're always firing up Justin Jefferson. Jordan Addison, throwing him out there. Yep. And Naylor, because of the injury to the running back to Aaron Jones, I would throw out there in a dart throw flex. And I don't think I want to play any of the tight ends unless TJ Hawkinson somehow comes back. But I don't want to play Josh Oliver or Johnny Munt. Hopefully TJ Hawkinson is back very soon. Oh, we got the Titans going up against the Bills. We got Will Levi. Do not start. Tony Pollard, I would start against the Bills because they've been so bad against the run. Calvin Ridley, I don't want to start. DeAndre Hopkins, I don't want to start. Chig, we're not starting. Boyd, not starting. So really, Pollard's the only guy who's even a start over here. Now to the Bills, who've been shaky at best, but now they make a move to shake things up, and you bring over Amari the Pooper Scooper. Josh Allen. It's a really tough matchup for Josh Allen versus the Titans. Feel like you still got to start him. James Cook, we just have to keep monitoring. Amari Cooper, he got traded to a way better team, way better situation, but he just happens to go up against one of the premier cornerbacks in the league in L'Jarius Sneed. I don't want to play him this week, and I'm not going to play him this week. I would play Shakira though, because as long as he plays, he's going to be getting a lot of work. Coleman's just a sit until further notice. Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox, we're not playing them because the Titans are giving up the least amount of points to tight ends out of everyone in the league. It's going to be a tough game for sure. But I would say Josh Allen, Shakira, I'd start both of those guys with confidence. I'm leaning on just sitting him as of right now because I feel like he's not going to play. And then maybe you get a guy like Ray Davis or Ty Johnson in there if you're desperate. I would just avoid those guys in this game and just go with Allen and Shakira. Now, I got an ugly game for you. Miami going over to Indy to take on the Colts. Still no Tua as of now. It's Huntley, and it's going to be ugly. And Huntley, you're sitting. A-Chain, I don't know if he's going to play or not. We got to see. He got El Concusto, and we've seen guys miss multiple weeks for a concussion. I would start Raheem Mostert, whether A-Chain plays or not, in a flex role. If A-Chain doesn't play, Mostert's like an RB2 to me because the Colts have been so bad. And then Tyreek and Waddle. Man, it all depends on who you have. These guys are fringe starters to me right now, but I find it very hard to believe that coming off the bye that they won't get a little bit more creative in how to get them the ball. Odell Beckham Jr., yeah, he's going to be playing. I know there's a lot of people who are jumping out the window for him. If they can't get Tyreek the ball and get him going, I doubt they're going to be able to get OBJ going as well, who hasn't played in an actual game in a very long time. Come on, Tua, hurry up and get back. Now to the home team, the Colts. Anthony Richardson. Will they please bench him so we won't even have to think if we should start or sit him? Miami has given up like no points to quarterbacks. So Richardson, Flacco, I don't want to play in this matchup in a single QB league. Superflex, we got to do what we got to do. Jonathan Taylor, we don't even know if he's going to play yet. They said he had a high ankle sprain, and usually high ankle sprains, you're out like 4 to 6 weeks sometimes. Let's see if he could get back this week. They didn't put him on IR. They made it seem like he was getting closer to starting last week than he was the week before. He should be closer to starting this week than he was last week. Whoever is the running back here, I do want to play because the Dolphins have been so trash against defending the run. Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, Mo Alley Small. I'm not starting any of them if it's Anthony Richardson. If it's Flacco, maybe I'll start Pittman or Downs. The Dolphins have been giving up like very little points to the QBs, very little points to the wide receivers. So I'd be very skeptical on starting any of the wide receivers or QBs over here for the Colts. Next matchup. This one should be a high-scoring affair. It is the Seahawks going over to Atlanta to play the Falcons. You're pretty much starting everybody. You're starting Geno. You're starting Ken Walker. Charbonnet, he's only startable in flex consideration type spots. Outside of that, we're not really starting him. DK, got to start him. It's going to be a tough matchup against AJ Terrell, but pretty confident that he can still handle biz. I like JSN in this game as well. I do like Lockett in this game as well. Lockett and JSN are both flex plays to me. So you could give me someone who I think is a better matchup than those guys, but I do like both in general this week. And Noah Fant, out of all the bad tight ends that are out there, I feel is a start to me versus the Falcons. Falcons have been tough against the tight end, but a lot of times they're giving up middle of the road numbers, not like they're completely shutting down players. So I think Noah Fant that you could do a lot worse than him compared to some of the tight ends you might be considering starting. Now to the home team. Kirk Cousins, we're starting him. Bijan, starting him. Tyler Algier, I would start him as a flex. It's a good matchup versus the Seahawks. Now, before I get to the wide receivers, let's talk about Kyle Pitts, someone who's been up and down and all around. It's a good matchup versus the Seahawks. I'm starting Kyle Pitts. And now the wide receivers. It's just about the level of desperation that you have because Drake London, we're starting him. Darnell Mooney, I feel like he's still one of the better flex options that you can play in general. So he's a start for me. And then Ray McLeod, it really just depends on how desperate you are, but he's been getting enough volume to where if you play multiple flex spots, I'd potentially get him in there. It's just a really good matchup all around for both teams. And we expect a lot of points on both sides of the ball. Let's get it. Now we got the Texans going over to Green Bay and to Lambeau Field to play the Packers. These teams, defense is a little bit tougher, a little bit stingier over here. CJ Stroud is a fringe starter to me this week. It does depend on who you have. I don't love him. I don't hate him. It's just like a middle of the road guy to me with this matchup. Sergio Mix-a-Lot. I am starting him, though, going up against the Packers, who've been giving up a lot of points to the RBs. And Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell, I feel like we can't sit those guys anymore because they just throw enough to where with no Nico, both of those guys should be solid. Jair Alexander, though, he is going to slow them down when he's matched up against them. And that's one of the reasons why I do like Dalton Schultz this week. There's not been too many weeks that I've recommended starting Dalton Schultz, but the Packers, they are giving up like the 5th most points to tight ends, and we got to play that matchup. If Nico was out there, I probably wouldn't even suggest him. Now to the home team. Jordan Love, I'm starting him. Not worried too much about this Texans matchup against the QBs. I am a little bit worried about Josh Jacobs, though. The Texans have been very stingy against the running backs. I'm still starting Josh Jacobs, though. Not the best matchup, but I'm still starting him. Now, against the wide receivers, they have been giving up solid points to the wide receivers. I feel like Reed and Dubs, I'm starting them with a whole bunch of confidence. And Christian Watson, more of a flex guy to me, but I feel like I could start all those guys in some capacity. Tucker Kraft, though. Houston has been one of the toughest teams against the tight ends, so I am going to recommend sitting him. I understand that if there's really nobody else, you have to play him. But there's only been one team that actually did good against them. Outside of that, they pretty much shut every tight end down going against them. So not a good matchup for Tucker Kraft. He is a for sure sit for me. Sorry, no Kraft mac and cheese today. Got the Blue Box Blues. Blue Box Blues. Now we got an AFC North divisional game with blah written all over it. But at least we're talking about the good side right now. The Bengals. Joe Burrow, start him. Chase Brown, start him. Zach Moss, flex consideration. Jamar Chase, start him. Higgins, start him. We're not starting Yoshi unless we're super desperate. Gesicki, Eric All Jr., I'm not really excited about playing either one of those guys. Now, when I look at this team and we talk about starts or sits, the only thing that comes to mind is Austin Powers.
It does look like she was beaten with an ugly stick.
Yeah, because it's all ugly. I don't want to start Deshaun Watson. He's been so trash. Nick Chubb should be coming back. You're not seeing him on this list yet because he hasn't been officially designated to return from IR, but they said he should be coming back. I don't want to play him in the first game back, especially with how ugly the Browns are looking right now. Nick Chubb's a flex guy to me. If you're playing in Dynasty and you've been waiting for him to come back, unless your team's stacked, you're playing him. Jerry Jeudy, I don't want to play him. I don't want to play Elijah. I want to score more because he wants to score more, but Deshaun Watson doesn't want him to score more. That's for sure. I'd play Njoku, and that would probably be it. That's really because of how bad the tight end landscape is. We all know how bad it is. It's trash. We got an NFC divisional matchup between the Eagles and the Giants. Now that Jalen Hurts has got his pieces back, I feel like we can start him with way more confidence than we could when A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith were out. Giants have been a little bit of a tougher matchup against quarterbacks. Their secondary is pretty solid, and they've been getting after the quarterback as well. They're towards the upper end of the league when it comes to quarterback sacks. Saquon Barkley, come on, man, we're firing them up. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, those guys are way too good to not fire up. And Dallas Goedert, we got to monitor his work in practice this week because I don't even know if he's going to play. And I had someone already ask me, should they get the backup? I don't think so. I wouldn't really worry about it. It'll be one of those, I don't think so, Tim moments.
I don't think so, Tim.
Not like we needed an extra reason to like Saquon, but the revenge narrative of all revenge narratives, the Giants. Remember this clip from Hard Knocks?
The right thing to do is let you test the market and see what your value is.
Are we positive that nobody's going to pay him that kind of money?
I mean, who would you say would go sign up running back to that dollar amount?
A team that's, anyone that has money to spend.
There's a lot of running backs in free agency.
Even if Saquon's number one on your board, do you imagine anyone's going to have such a gap between Saquon and Jacobs, Pollard, Henry, whoever else, that they're going to want him at $12 million a year?
I'm going to have a tough time sleeping if Saquon goes to Philadelphia, I'll tell you that.
Giants were so stupid. Sucks to be you, man. Sucks to be you, man. Now to the home team. Ugly over here because we got to start with guys like Danny Pesos. Eagles are giving up bottom 10 numbers to the quarterbacks. I'm going to do everything I can to avoid playing him. Devin Singletary, Tyrone Tracy. Can they just say that Singletary's not playing so I could just say start Tracy? Because if Singletary's playing, I don't want him or Tracy. If Singletary's not playing, I want Tracy. He's looked really good. He runs hard out there, and that's really what we want. Yeah, Singletary, he's been a bum out there.
He's a bum. He was a bum then, and he's a bum now.
Malik Neighbors, he's must-start TV. Now, if he's playing, they said that he is finally progressing through concussion protocol. On Wednesday, they said he's going to be playing in a non-contact red jersey. Let's see if he gets a full go by Friday. With Neighbors being back, that does make it a little bit tougher on Darius Slayton and Wandale. But here's one of the reasons why you could start all three of these guys in my book. Because the Giants are going to be playing from behind. They're just going to keep throwing the ball. It's going to be hard to run the ball. It's already easier to throw the ball on the Eagles than it is to run on them. Darius Slayton and Wandale now down to flex guys, but they are decent flex plays in a matchup like this. And now, Mr. Theo Huxtable Johnson.
What in the world does that have to do with me?
No pudding for you, my friend.
Jell-O brand pudding pops. All the goodness of real Jell-O pudding, so you know it's wholesome.
A true winner!
We're going to have to sit him versus the Eagles because the Eagles have only given up one good performance to tight ends all year. So even though I do like Theo Huxtable and a nice bowl of chocolate pudding,
Jell-O pudding eating motherfucker?
we're not going to do it this time. We got Raiders going to SoFi to take on the Rams. You know what my prediction is for this game? Just like Clubber Lang said.
Pain.
I don't want to start anybody. Like maybe you want to start Brock Bowers just because the tight end landscape is so bad. The defenses are going to be keying in on him. The Rams have been giving up decent points to the tight end. That's like the only thing that gives me any kind of confidence in Bowers. Outside of that, yeah, we're not starting Aiden O'Connell or Zamir White. I really think Jacoby Myers makes a business decision and doesn't play. Trey Tucker, DJ Turner, come on, get out of here.
So why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
Maybe you start Alexander Madison if you are extremely hurt everywhere because the Rams, they are giving up a bunch of points to the running backs. They're giving up like top 10 points. So maybe that's the only reason you start Alexander Madison. We've wasted too much time on the Raiders. Let's move over to the Rams. Now to the Rams. If Kupp comes back, I'd play Stafford. I am going to play Kyren. If Kupp comes back, I'm playing him versus the Raiders. Great matchup. Colby Parkinson, playing him. Let's go. Now, Whittington, Tutu Atwell, those are going to be your long shot dart throw flex guys. I would be willing to fire them up because the Rams are going to be throwing it a bunch. Demarcus Robinson and Tyler Johnson also droppable at this point. Got another slobber knocker for you here. Carolina going to Washington to play those Commandos. I'm starting Andy Dalton. I'm starting Chuba. I'm starting Deontay Johnson, Xavier Legette. I want to start them. We see wide receivers going off against Washington and Jatavion Sanders. If you are super desperate, he's someone that I would pick up and start. It is a little bit of a toughish matchup, but he's not rostered in too many leagues out there. He's the guy. Jumping over to the Commandos. Let's see if they get caught with their pants down. Jaden Daniels turned into a must start, especially versus a team like the Carolina Panthers. You start all your quarterbacks versus them. Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler. If both of them play, I'm playing them both. If Brian Robinson Jr. doesn't play, playing Austin Eckler with a whole bunch of confidence. Terry McLaurin, confident. Let's go. Fire him up. Zach Ertz, confident this week. Panthers are giving up a lot of booty to the tight ends. Fire him up. Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey. I got to be really desperate to play either one of those guys. Noah Brown was on my waiver wire wide receiver list this week. He has been trending in the right direction. He's the number 2 over there. Everybody else dropped significantly in snap percentage when he came back. Let's go. JD5. He's got 5 on it. Oh, this one should be the game of the week for these afternoon games. Anyways, we got the Chiefs going over to play the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams have tough defenses. I'm still starting Mahomes, though. Kareem Hunt, I'm starting him. I don't know if you guys have heard of that Dr. Morris. He was like, sell high on Kareem Hunt because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is coming back. Clyde Edwards-Helaire sucks. I don't think he takes over anything. I'm going to fire up Kareem Hunt at will. But be ready, though, guys, because Pacheco, if he is coming back in a couple weeks like he should, you might want to sell high on Kareem Hunt if you can. Xavier Worthy. X gonna give it to you. We know X gonna give it to you. I feel like in a lot of situations, I'm trying to sit him where I can. That may be easier said than done, but there's only 2 teams on bye this week, so you might be able to sit. It doesn't get a lot of volume. But Juju Smith-Schuster, Xavier Worthy, even though I don't like the amount of volume that they get, I would still start them in a flex role. It depends on who you have on your squad. That's what you have to remember. I just like the matchup versus the 49ers, knowing that the Chiefs are not going to be able to win by only scoring like less than 20 points. They're going to need to throw the ball, and those guys are probably going to get an uptick in work this week compared to previous weeks. Travis Kelce, toughest matchup of almost any tight end on the week going up against the 49ers, but we are not sitting. It's going to be a battle. Let's go. Now to the home team. Brock Purdy, we're starting him. Not that good of a matchup, though, versus the Chiefs. Mason, Guerendo, everybody over there. I'm leaning on sitting them. The Chiefs have literally been one of the toughest running back matchups that you can have. If I have any kind of decent startable guys, any kind of RB2 or higher, I'm starting them over Mason this week. George Kittle. Let's mention him before we get to the wide receivers, because the Chiefs have not been able to defend the tight ends well at all. So George Kittle, you are starting him no matter what, whether it was the Chiefs or anybody else. Must start always for Kittle. Now the wide receivers. Not starting Juwan Jennings. I have to start Debo and Ayuk in this matchup. The Chiefs are tough against wide receivers, but in this Super Bowl rematch here in the middle of the season, we have to assume that both teams are going to be going with their high-powered offensive looks, and Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk are going to have a huge part of this game. So we are starting both of those guys with a lot of confidence this week. We have made it all the way to Sunday Night Football. I hope this game doesn't disappoint. Aaron Rodgers, he's got the Steelers in a single QB league. I feel like I want to sit him. But like with Devontae Adams coming back, it's like I want to play him so bad. So I'm going to lean on the side of starting Aaron Rodgers. Breece Hall, got to start him versus the Steelers. They've been going in waves of defending the running back amazingly and then just not so well. And after what we saw from Breece last week, I have to start him. And with the addition of Adams coming in now, it's going to be a lot harder for the teams to stack the box against him. We're rocking Breece. Devontae Adams now. Oh, man, you guys have probably heard me already give my takes on Devontae Adams. It's going to be great. Him coming back over here with Aaron Rodgers. He was a full go in their walkthrough. I don't know what kind of complement of snaps he's going to be able to play this week, but I feel like I want to play him. I don't know if it's a smart move, but I'm going to play him, and I'm going to say play him. And Garrett Wilson, he's going to lose targets. He's going to lose receptions. But if he gets more yards and more touchdowns than he has been having, isn't that a good thing? Garrett Wilson is still must-start TV. Alan Lazard, he's always been like a flex. Now he remains that flex role. He's probably going to be a better flex than a lot of random players. Tyler Conklin, if you are desperate at tight end, I would start him because it's so ugly out here for tight ends. Jumping over to the home team, the Steelers. Russell Wilson is taking first team reps at practice. This is now a QB competition between Russell Wilson and Fields. You need to be paying attention, following this channel throughout the week so you get the updates on what is going on. And no matter who the starter is in a single QB league, I don't want to start him. For this week, it almost doesn't matter. If you're in a super flex league, it matters. Najee, Jalen Warren, I'm leaning on sitting them. The Jets have been so tough against running backs. If you have to start Najee, I would. I wouldn't really want to start Warren at all. George Pickens, I really don't want to start him. Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin, I don't want to start any of them. If anybody, you may want to start Pat Freiermuth only if you are beyond desperate, because I feel like maybe he's like a red zone threat. But even him, I do not want to start. You are starting these guys based on your level of desperation, and I'm leaning on just sitting everybody on the Steelers. We got 2 games for Monday Night Football this week. Count them. 2. Utah. Give me 2.
Utah. Give me 2.
Ravens. We're starting our guys. We're starting Lamar. We're starting Derrick Henry. We're starting Zay Flowers. Those guys are must-start TV. We can't sit those guys. Rashad Bateman, super dart throw flex. Justice Hill, super dart throw flex. Mark Andrews, I don't want to start him. I don't care about him getting a touchdown last week. I don't want to chase it. The Bucs have been giving up some booty to the tight ends. Maybe it's likely that you want to start, but I know I'm not chasing those points for Mark Andrews. Now the home team, Baker Mayfield, got to start him. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, we just have to play them in a game like this. It's the running backs that the Ravens have been holding down. So Rashad White, Bucky Irving, Sean Tucker, I'm leaning on sitting all of those guys. We got to get clarification on Rashad White. And because it's on Monday, that's just going to make it suck even worse. So just sit everybody over there for the running backs. Cade Otton, I will play him versus the Ravens because the Ravens have been giving up the booty to the tight ends. Cade Otton, you must start this week. And that sucks, but fire him up nonetheless. Now to the not so sexy game on Monday night. The Chargers going to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Single QB league, I'm leaning on sitting Justin Herbert. We cannot sit J.K. Dobbins. For the wide receivers, though, man, maybe I'll just play Quentin Johnston in like some dart throw flex capacity. But like outside of that, I don't want anybody on the wide receiver core or the tight end core. The Chargers has just been ass all around. It sucks. And J.K. Dobbins to the moon, and that's pretty much it. Made it to the end. Last team to talk about, Kyler Murray, leaning on sitting in a single QB depending on who you have on your squad. Superflex, you're starting them. And even in some cases, I'm starting Kyler Murray in single QB. Chargers just been a little bit of a tough matchup on the QBs. I got to start James Conner, though. Marvin Harrison Jr., we got to keep paying attention to the injury reports because we don't know if he's going to play after getting El Concusto last week. If he does play, I like Michael Wilson and I'd fire him up. If Marvin Harrison doesn't play, Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch, I feel like Greg Dortch might be the best out of the two. It's almost like the number 2 guy is going to do better because the number 1 guy is going to be covered by Asante Samuel Jr. more than likely, and then that is not going to be good. Trey McBride, I feel like you got to start him, especially if there's anything with Marvin Harrison Jr. like not playing. Chargers have been middle of the road and giving up points to the tight end, so it's not like an amazing matchup, but it's not a bad matchup either. So I'm playing Trey McBride with all kinds of confidence this week. And if Marvin Harrison Jr. does not play at all, that's just going to make it even better for Trey McBride. Whoo, we made it to the end. I appreciate you guys sticking around throughout the whole video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Make sure that you guys turn on all notifications because I go live every single morning doing videos like this that I chop down and put into replays for you guys. And you guys just want to be here. It's one of the best shows going, especially on Sunday. It's amazing before the games. So we'll see you guys on the next video. Click one of the videos that's popping up right now. Go ahead and do it.